I said very clearly the last time I was on the show that the Dodgers didn't need Kyle Tucker, but I certainly believe that Kyle Tucker makes the Dodgers better. And what I mean by that is while I think the Dodgers made the right move in signing Kyle Tucker, I would not have been surprised if they didn't get him. And I think we still would have been fine without him. Kyle Tucker makes the Dodgers better, right? I mean, Kyle Tucker would make any team better, but it wasn't something that was such a glaring need. We needed an outfielder. It did not have to be as accomplished as Kyle Tucker. So that is my point with that. I think it's awesome. I think this is a signing for the Dodgers that makes sense. I think it's a signing for Kyle Tucker that makes sense because having spoken to some folks that are very close with Kyle Tucker, I think the high AAV works, the short-term contract works. He is kind of in the shadows in LA in terms of the other superstar power surrounding him. And speaking to some folks that know him well, he will thrive in that situation, right? Kyle Tucker is not a guy that is a rah-rah guy. I'm going to read something to us and our viewers right now that is from a source that knows Kyle Tucker incredibly well. Good dude, not a bad makeup dude. Good family, just a very low motor. Will thrive because he's in the shadows, just not obsessed with the big leagues. And that's okay, right? You don't have to have a massively outgoing personality and all of the things, but Kyle Tucker, 22 home runs last year. Yes, he hit just 266, but this guy is a championship player. He gets the job done. As long as he's a good teammate, which I have no reason to believe that he is not a good teammate, I think it makes our outfield better. You have Teoscar Hernandez, who will seemingly now move to left field. Andy Pages in center, Kyle Tucker in right, maybe Tommy Edman in center. We don't know everything that's going to happen there with center field. Could be a platoon situation. But the point is, I think it's a good deal for both. Kyle Tucker's already made it official. Good for the Dodgers. Good for Andrew Friedman. There were two needs, Clint, going into spring training that we needed. We needed a closer. Check. We needed an outfielder. Check.
Yeah, if the laundry list was that short, they nailed it. They absolutely nailed this laundry list. I think Andy Pages, I'm going to talk more Pages later in the show. I think he's going to get that first shake at playing center field. I think this could be a pretty dang good outfield. We know offensively it can be an exceptional outfield, but I want to call to attention something plenty of people have done. Mike Petriello also pointed out a lot of these numbers on the MLB.com about Kyle Tucker. And obviously, the numbers a little bit down last year for Kyle Tucker in his one season in Chicago. Hit 266, 22 homers over the 136 games there, most of those coming at Wrigley. The big issue with him, he just plainly struggled at Wrigley Field. You see here, numbers on the screen. Hit 236 at home with a 747 OPS at home. Fine, not great. Definitely not $60 million number. But on
But is
the
anything?
road. Well, yeah, exactly. Nobody's worth that kind of money. By the way, I'll get this back up, but I showed this on Friday's edition of the show. Just this is dumb amounts of money, Alana. And as you always point out, money doesn't guarantee you anything. It doesn't guarantee you championships, but it buys you good players. And hey, if you got it, flaunt it, I guess. But back to the Tucker numbers. Yeah, on the road there, though. 292 average, 923 OPS on the road. He's also just generally been a very good hitter over the course of his career. 138. So 38% better when you're looking at the weighted runs created plus. He strikes out a little less than 16% of the time, which is great. And he's a very good hitter at Dodger Stadium. Career 303. Hitter with an OPS over 1,000. The big one is the strikeouts for me. And we talked about, we were two people pushing a lot for somebody like Stephen Kwan, who has very, very elite bat to ball. He strikes out less than 10% of the time. But you're looking at somebody like Tucker, who's striking out, whatever, it's 15.8%. That's still 10% less of the time than Shohei Ohtani. What else we had? I had in here, I got to find it. Freddie Freeman struck out 20.4% of the time last year. And this is a guy that we think of as one of the most elite hitters in baseball because he's Freddie goddamn Freeman, but still. This guy is good. Kyle Tucker is good, and that's what this team needed. It didn't need another guy with a hole in his bat. They needed somebody who can go bat the ball, find some grass, find some fans in the seats on occasion, and play an above average defense in right field. Just what we're bringing to the lineup here. I've changed this around a few times, by the way. An exceptional 1 through 9, Riz.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive. I mean, we know again, and this is a team that, like all of us, it's 1 year older. But you look at the top of the lineup with Shohei and Mookie, Kyle in the 3-hole. I mean, if you have your catcher batting fourth, I mean, your catcher's your cleanup hitter. That's impressive. Freddie Freeman, of course, Teoscar Hernandez, love what he can do. If Max Muncy hits another 30 plus home runs and hits 200, I'm fine with that. He's your 7-hole hitter, right? He's your third baseman, your 7-hole hitter. If you want to hit 30 bombs and hit, right up at the Mendoza line, I don't care. Andy Pages is only going to get better. I think the biggest question mark is number 9, just because of Tommy Edman in terms of health and coming off that ankle injury and all of the things. And I think Kyle Tucker's issues last season. Yeah, nailed it. Issues last season too with the down, other than the Wrigley Field, playing a part into it, is he was injured too for the second half of the season, for a lot of it too. So let's figure that situation out too. But no, this is good. I mean, he's a great addition to what is already an unbelievably good team. And because he doesn't have to be the man, a lot of guys don't want the attention, right? Yeah. There's a lot of people that don't want the spotlight. I remember when Cody Bellinger came up, Corey Seager could not have been happier, because Corey hated interviews so much. He would do them. He was always professional, but he did not like talking about himself. But Corey Seager's a superstar, so he would have to talk all the time. And then here comes Belly. And then Belly had that MVP season type of thing. So it was like, Corey was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to talk about, I don't have to talk about myself anymore. So this is good for the team. It's good for Kyle Tucker. I like the shorter years. I did not want to sign Kyle Tucker to a 10-year deal. I thought that was silly. But this makes sense. And yes, the money's stupid, but I'll never fault a player for getting that kind of cash. Good for them.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. But I really do love, obviously, all the money, all the insanity, all of the Dodgers ruining baseball aside. Again, just lineup wise, the profile that he brings to this lineup, and I think him, pointing out again, not needing to be the man, having all the superstar talent around him, it's just going to help him out so much in so many ways. But I really think this could be the best of the best Kyle Tucker that we've seen as a big leaguer. And he's had some exceptional years. You look at the OPS plus, he's about a 140 hitter in his career. He had the 138 weighted runs created plus. It's going to get better. He is going to be a better player. In 2024, before he got injured in his final season with Houston, he was on pace for a 40 homer season. It's not out of the realm of possibility. And some people are questioning, in the lineup about having him hitting in that 3-hole. The thing we've talked about, Katie and I talked about a whole bunch as well on Friday. There's no wrong answer. There's no right answer in what this lineup is going to look like. The initial version I kept Will Smith hitting second, and Mookie was down in the lineup. It is a great problem. And you're right. There's no wrong answer, and time will tell how this lineup shifts over the course of the 162 game season. But I would probably have Kyle hit second and have Mookie hit third. But I mean, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I mean, and I'm also not upset with Mookie leading off and Shohei hitting in the 2-hole. So, we'll see. It doesn't matter. It's an embarrassment of riches. It's a phenomenal problem to have. And the fact that Kyle Tucker can, I think, be himself. LA has obviously established itself as a destination. I mean, Kyle Tucker had a lot of suitors. The Toronto Blue Jays gave him $1 bazillion, but it was, of course, and good for the Blue Jays for spending money. Yeah. Good for the Blue Jays for, they were down to this much of winning the World Series last year. So, they're taking the money, the investments from the World Series wins, and they're putting it right back in their team. And that's what good teams do. That's what the Dodgers have done. That's what the Blue Jays are doing. Obviously, Steve Cohen has more money than God. But it is what it is. At least they're spending money, and I love to see it. So welcome Kyle Tucker to Los Angeles. Looking forward, man, to seeing what you can do in LA. Yeah, the best way, we'll take a pause here. You guys can celebrate Kyle Tucker being a Dodger by checking out some Dodgers Territory merch. Go to DodgersTerritoryShop.com. Please consider supporting us, supporting the show, myself, Alana, Rizzo, Katie, Woo, and Company. Get yourself a beanie, a hat, a shirt, a cup, mug, any sort of thing. It helps us out. Scan that QR code. There is a link in the description below as well. It also supports everybody at the Foul Territory Network. Yeah, look cool for the upcoming season. I think that's what it is, right? I got a hat. Special.
We're all about looking cool. I mean, if we are nothing, if we are not cool. Much more to talk about on the show as Dodgers territory continues. So let's get to Bleeding Blue.
Let's do it.
I'm going to let you just take this because they signed Nick Robertson last week, right-handed reliever, minor leaguer that I know nothing about. So Clint, let's see us go.
Yeah, this was amongst the few things that I wouldn't say missed so much, but definitely fell under the radar following the Kyle Tucker thing. One of the things, Gavin Lux traded from Cincy to Tampa Bay. I just wanted to throw that in there. Hopefully Luxy gets a chance at a lot of playing time there in Tampa Bay. But the one that directly relates to our Dodgers, they bring in on a minor league deal a right-handed reliever who was with the Dodgers actually in 2023, and he was part of the trade that brought Kike Hernandez back from Boston. Not an exceptional pitcher is Nick Robertson. Career 5.3 ERA over 27 big league games. You see with the Red Sox, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Cardinals. Some depth. Now we're at that point in the offseason where it's just F around and add some depth to the minor league ranks. And I think that's kind of where we're going to be at. I think that's a good segue to, besides Robertson, what is next for the Dodgers? Are they done? That's the question everybody has, because I didn't anticipate a Tucker, Alana. I did not anticipate specifically an Edwin Diaz. I figured someone of that ilk, but what do they do now? You mentioned the health and kind of concerns around Tommy Edman, who would probably be better served as a utility guy. Hey, F it. Do we go get Nico Horner? Go get everybody else? We had the conversation about could Teoscar Hernandez be traded, pulling on that thread of a storyline from earlier in the offseason. Ken Rosenthal brought it up in a column last week as well. I don't think that. I really would like to see Teo around. He's just good for this clubhouse. He's good for the team, and you got to bet on a rebound for Teo.
I agree. I think Teoscar Hernandez is going to have a much better 2026 than he had a 2025. I love the energy. He comes up in big moments. Not necessarily like his brother Kike Hernandez, but I want him on this club. And if he's willing to move to left field, which I think he is, I believe him to be a team player. I think that outfield just got a lot better, obviously, with him in left. We said that even before they signed Kyle Tucker, that we wanted him to go to left field and then, get somebody else, put Andy Pajes in right, and then see if Tommy Edman was going to play center or whatever. So this works out well for them. I don't need anything else. I really don't. I think, again, I didn't need Kyle Tucker either. I'm glad we have him. But I didn't need to have him. And then, of course, Edwin Diaz was the biggest thing to me. That was just to solidify that back end of the bullpen like that, I think is awesome. If Teo can have a rebound year, if Mookie could have a rebound year, this team is insane. It's very good. And they're built for October. They always have been. So if you can maintain until you get to the postseason, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, to button up the Teo talk, he's not going anywhere. All he needs to do is show up to work, be clutch, throw some seeds at people, smile on the field, be only a moderate liability out in left field, and go out and win his third World Series in 3 seasons as a Dodger. It feels like a pretty easy job for Teo for sure. The other kind of, I don't think this has necessarily been in the ethos as a question, but, there's a little bit, I mentioned earlier, the Andy Pajes kind of storyline. Might they try to move off of Andy Pajes in general center field? Obviously, he's not going to have anywhere else. Kyle Tucker has played a very, very minor amount of center field in his career, mostly as a professional, in the minor league level. He's not really a long-term option in center field. Right now, the best center fielder they have is Andy Pajes, and Kyle Tucker definitely helps the Dodgers kind of become a little bit more Andy Pajes regression proof. On Pajes, listen, solid regular season overall. 272, 774 OPS, had 27 homer, 86 RBIs, all career highs for him. But it was a tale of two seasons, Alana, a very much up and down 2025, because he was great in the first 81 games. This is what we talked about, sending him to the moon. And then, hold on, this is a guy who should be in the conversation for being an all-star. 291 in the first half, 16 homers, 55 stakes there. In the final 75, 251. Okay, serviceable OPS, a little over 700 with 11 dingers, 31 RBIs. But then he disappeared, as we all know, in the playoffs. Just 4 for 51. That is a 0.78 average. 1 run batted in. And I'm not saying this to say that I'm out on Pages. I'm just saying that with all of this talent, with all of the stars and the ability and all of this kind of stuff, if there's one guy to keep an eye on as the season progresses, as an area that may need improvement or may force the Dodgers' hand to move Tommy Edman to center, or, I mean, the good thing is they have flexibility. You can get a second baseman if you need to, or you can get a center fielder if you need to for this club. But the good thing for Pages... Go ahead.
We don't have to, he's hitting in your 7th or 8th hole. You don't have to worry about Pages because he's not in the top of your order. He's not in the meat of your order. He's not in the middle of your order. He is the 7th or 8th hole hitter guy, and that's okay. Even 9th, throw him in the 9th hole. I don't care. I mean, this is a guy that doesn't have to be your. I care more about his defense, honestly, in center field than I care about how much production we get offensively, because I think in that position with the rest of the offensive weapons you have around him, I think of him more as like, let's do more of a run prevention guy than a, run producer guy. And you're going to get what you're going to get out of Pages. I mean, again, he's coming into the season, another year of experience. I think it's so difficult to, for people to understand 162 games is a really long effing time. And some people are just unbelievably athletic and some people are unbelievably gifted that it doesn't seem like it phases them the course of the season. But he's still learning the position. He's still learning the game at this level. So I'm certainly not. And just adding Kyle Tucker takes that much more pressure off of Andy Pages. He doesn't have to be the end all be all out there. He can do, the Dodgers have a really good way of setting their guys up for success. And I think signing Kyle Tucker will help Andy Pages even have more success than we've seen him at times in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, taking more of that weight off of his shoulders for sure. I mean, this is a kid. Pages is a kid who has just gotten better and better as his pro career, as his big league career has gone on. Of course, makes his debut in 2024. He was somebody, had a really, really good spring training, eventually came up, took over in the outfield at one point, and then was essentially the everyday center fielder for this team last year. Had some hiccups, definitely, but got better there. He keeps getting better and better as he gets further removed from 2023 shoulder surgery. Find me a better 8-hitter in baseball than Andy Pages, entering his 3rd season with big league time. I'm very high on the kid. The fact that he's going to be hitting so low, he is not critical to everything going well, but him performing makes everything better for everybody else, especially somebody like Andrew Friedman around, I don't know, July 31st or so. If he's doing well, they're going to be fine. But back to the question, are the Dodgers done? Outside of the roster move we need for Kyle Tucker to become official tomorrow or Wednesday or whenever that happens, and your splashes of minor league signings, the NRI guys, they're done. This is beyond a complete roster.
All right. I think they're done. I don't think there's anything right now would be like Robertson with depth type of situation, right? I mean, they're done. They don't need anything massive. I think all of the holes are filled. All of the questions have been answered. I mean, this is a very solid team. You're going to have to deal with injuries, as all 30 clubs are. But right now, I think the Dodgers have put together one heck of a roster. Let's talk about that Kyle Tucker move for a moment. So the addition of Kyler Tucker is going to mean a subtraction of somebody else. Who do you suppose that's going to be?
The only name that seems to make the most sense to me is the name Michael Ciani. He was a guy they picked up on waivers. He's an outfielder. Katie knows him from his time, her time covering the Cardinals and his time being a Cardinal. Exceptionally gifted defender. Doesn't necessarily come with a baseball bat. He just makes a lot of sense. Hopefully you pass him through waivers, unless there's some sort of sneaky move where they have a lot of pitching. An insane amount of pitching. And yes, you need a lot of pitching. You need a lot of depth. They could move 1 or 2 guys. Wouldn't be super shocked if it was like a weird kind of just jettison a couple of guys trade. so you could open up 1 or 2 roster spots again. Wouldn't be shocked, but I think it's going to be something simple like a Siani DFA that we see again either tomorrow, maybe later this afternoon, something like that. And then hopefully he passes through waivers and is more AAA depth. But
yeah, that's just it, right? I mean, I don't know.
Shocked.
My guess is going to be somebody that's going to pass through waivers, and it's not going to be somebody that's highly coveted, and then they can just come right back to us as depth in the minor leagues. So we'll see what happens with that. But obviously the big announcement is Kyle Tucker will officially be a Dodger. I would assume, like you said, that they would announce that tomorrow or the next day. So I don't know, but to answer that question, I think we're done. I mean, what else could this team possibly need?
Nothing. I mean, we've talked so much about that starting rotation. It's an insane starting rotation, insane depth. I think I have it somewhere here. I'll throw it back up on the screen because I always have it around. Disregard Kyle Hurt, Ben Kasparius, Justin Brzezinski. They won't be necessarily in the starting rotation, but we're talking about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Emmett Sheehan, Gavin Stone coming back from injury, Roki Sasaki, another chance at that starting rotation, River Ryan. What an insane amount of depth. Quality depth for that starting rotation, and the bullpen is getting a lot better. Tanner Scott will be hopefully a lot better. Alex Vesia back, hopefully a good rebound for Blake Trinan. Like, there's nothing else they could do to make this team better outside of like finding a way to, I don't know, resurrect the ghost of Duke Snyder or something like that. Like, there's nothing this team could do to be better right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think there's going to be, let me ask you this question. This is not in our rundown, but we have a few minutes here before we get to last licks. Who has a banner year this year for you? Like who has a season that is over their skis that you're going to sit back and be like, wow, what a year.
I don't know if it's over any of their skis. I'm more betting on some bounce backs. Like, I need to see a bounce back from Marcus Lynn Betts. A lot of the drama, a lot of the issues that he had to deal with a season ago should be behind him. He knows he's the starting shortstop. He's got that on lock, but he's also, he's not going to play over his skis because he's already had an MVP season and he's probably not that dude anymore. To the question, Kyle Tucker, I think, going back to all those numbers, I think he is somebody that kind of, I love you bringing up the Corey Seager factor. Siegs, not needing to be that guy. Obviously, he only had one season as being like the dude, and then Cody came up and stole all the headlines. Like when Corey was able to just step back and not need to always be the man. I mean, the dude just absolutely flat out raked. The kid could hit a baseball. I think Kyle Tucker, like I said, the best is yet to come with Kyle Tucker. I would not be shocked to see him put up a career year. 100 ribbies, talking 35 dingers, hitting 290 or something like that. That would be the dude for me.
I agree with you on that. I think I also agree. I'm looking for a bounce back year from Teoscar Hernandez, as we discussed, but I agree with you. I think Kyle Tucker in his first, I don't even think it's going to take him a lot of time to adjust. He just has the talent that he's not going to need. It's like, he's not going to have to deal with, adjustment to a new team. I think he's going to fit in well with this club. I believe Andrew Friedman is very good about signing, for the most part, signing really good character guys. The whole Trevor Bauer thing was interesting, but whatever. But he's the only one, he's the only one that you're kind of like, what? But yeah, he absolutely was an outlier. I could see a 280, 282 season in terms of batting average. He had 22 home runs last year. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm not going to say he's going to eclipse the 30 mark, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Tucker hit 25, 26 home runs. Again, being in the shadows, not being in the limelight. I think he's really going to enjoy being in LA.
Yeah.
Obviously $60 million a year doesn't hurt.
Hey, keep him on the field for 145 games. I'm telling you, like 30 homers should be the floor for him. It really should be.
And this is not a guy, to my understanding, he's not a guy that is injury prone, knock on wood. I mean, he's not a guy that, he posts, like he's out there. Like you can pencil him into your lineup. Like, what you're going to get from him. And, that's the best. The best ability is availability, right? Mm-hmm. Is what they say. And I think he's that guy. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Absolutely. Final thing I have before we get to last licks. I guess technically we might be somewhat lying to ourselves or inaccurate in our statement of are the Dodgers done? Yes. No. Kike Hernandez will return in spring training.
Oh, well, that's
I think you and I just think we already know. Like, he's the 41st man on the roster. Another name,
happy
Alex Renteria.
Penelope, by the way, or his daughter. I said happy 5th birthday to Penelope Hernandez. Kike and Mariana's daughter just turned 5.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Alex Renteria, as I completely poorly shift gears there, also had brought up somebody like Evan Phillips. I think that's a name still that could return. He's out recovering from Tommy John until probably August, something like that. Just, the Dodgers and Evan Phillips go together very well. Would not be shocked to see that eventually come together, and you have more depth. But those would be the moves. But again, nothing that's going to be like, holy crap kind of move.
Right. I mean, but both of those moves are regarding guys that are hurt right now. So, like, yes, that makes sense. Like Kike and Evan and those types of things. I'm talking about guys that are obviously outside of the organization that would have to come in to fill a gap. And I mean, Kike and Evan, we know that they're part of this plan. We just don't know the timing of the plan.
I'm just covering our bases here because I know we're going to get people in the comments. Actually, they are going to bring back Kike Hernandez. Just kill yourself.
Yeah,
you know how people are on the internet.
Yeah, we've gotten some of those that I look like I just rolled out of bed, and Katie Wu really ties us all together. So that's nice. I hope that guy has a really good day.
What?
Seriously. Oh, yeah, I get that shit all the time.
Oh,
I love how
men,
I love how men always think that they can comment on women's appearance. I'm going to go to your job, wherever you are, and talk about how you should brush your hair or something like that. Anyway, let's talk about, because we don't deserve dogs and they're infinitely better than people, as just discussed. Let's get to last licks.
How about that for a segue?
This is Daffodil. She is a kind of like a mini golden retriever. She's not even 40 pounds, but she is doing great. She's gaining some weight. She's not going to be bigger than that. I mean, she's like a little mini golden. She's a senior gal. She's about 8 or 9 years old, but she's great. We saved her off of the euthanasia list. She was going to be killed, and she's doing awesome. She's gaining weight. She's doing great. She's being fostered in Norco, California right now, but she definitely needs a different adopter. As she's gained weight and gained her strength, the woman that's taking care of her right now is a little older, so she needs somebody that can actually just handle her on walks and those types of things. By no means is she like a brute force, but it just needs to be somebody that can handle her on walks and, kind of keep her steady. So if you're interested in learning more about Daffodil, please reach out to me or to my socials on, Gidry's Guardian as well.
Get yourself can't pet that dog.
Can't pet that dog.
Final thing, one last thought before we hit the road. Well, really, it's two last thoughts. You're right. People, stop being weird. Stop being weird online. I just want to point that out. I've wanted to kind of talk about it, like, having somebody like Katie join the show. It should be about her ability and her talent, and not being, oh, she's easy on the eyes. I'm pretty too. But Alana, I don't know if you saw this. Even I haven't technically seen it, but I've seen the clips online. Mookie Betts talking with, this is the weirdest sentence I've ever put together here, and I've said a lot of dumb shit. Mookie Betts talking to John Cena in a car podcast thing.
That's the pairing we didn't know we needed.
John Cena in cars getting coffee with baseball players. Mookie talked about his retirement, and it's not coming anytime soon, but he does plan on hanging him up once that contract expires. Unsurprisingly, his quote, "I'll be 40, my little girl will be 14, son's going to be 10. Of course, they're having another kid coming up in a couple of weeks here. He says, my parents were always there for me. I want to do the same thing for my kids. And I like that. We know Mookie Betts will, as we always knew, will retire. He will retire as a Dodger. Enters the Hall of Fame in LA on his cap.
Oh, yes. I mean, the way that Boston treated him, bye. There's no way. I mean, the fact that they even traded Mookie Betts is an abomination to begin with. We'll take him. Thank you, Boston. But no, I mean, he's a 4-time World Series champion, perhaps a 5-6-time World Series champion by the time he's considered into going into Cooperstown. But I mean, how much money can this man possibly need? He doesn't need it at that point anymore. 10 more years when he retires, or whatever it is, 2032 or whatever it is. Good for him, and to be able to, and he'll still be incredibly young. He's going to be 40 years old, retired with so much money in the bank. And again, the money doesn't end when Mookie's baseball career ends. I mean, he's in the media world. He's doing all kinds of other things, endorsements. He's a very good businessman. I'm happy for him. We'll see if that actually happens. Miguel Rojas was going to retire too. So we'll see. We'll see if Mookie actually sticks to his words about that. But good on you, Mookie. You deserve it. You earned it.
Yeah, good question from Yang Yi. That it's a tough one. Maybe it's a question for a different show. How long will Mookie play shortstop? I mean, as long as he can, probably. They don't have anybody ready to go. The kid they drafted last year, Kellen Lindsay, he's years away, but that noise tells us it's probably time to sign off. So, guys, we appreciate you hanging out with us here on this Monday edition of the show. We'll be back with Katie, so everybody could woo. Get it?